Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining me for today's video. Today I'm going to be talking about stress and ways to relieve stress and also prevent stress from building up. These are all really quick and easy things that I hope you'll find realistic to do for yourself. I, of course, would love to say that I'm someone who journals or meditates or does yoga routines on a daily basis, but I'm honestly not. Maybe one day I will be, but as of now, at my point in life, those things just don't really interest me, and I don't see a need to put that into my routines that I have right now. Of course, I could make time if I really wanted to, but I don't really want to. I'd rather do quick, short, simple things that will still have the same or close to the same effect of those, but just save me a lot of time. That's another thing too. I just think it's really important to realize we all have our own ways of wanting to deal with stress and wanting to relax. It's not like we all need to be doing the same things. But that being said, I hope these things I do share seem easy and attainable for everyone because that's how I feel. I feel like they're super quick and you don't need a lot of skill or practice to adopt these things. So I'll be starting off with 2 easy breathing exercises. They take only a couple of minutes or even less. And then I'll also be talking about some other habits that I won't go as much into detail, but just to give you some ideas of things you might want to try out on your own. I also want to add a quick thing about why managing your stress is so important. There's a good half of people who really do care about their mental health, and then another half are just, I'm too busy, I'm too focused on doing these other things, I don't need to think about it, I'm fine. But really, ask yourself, are you fine? Are you actually feeling relaxed and having those moments where you're just able to enjoy life? Or are you constantly thinking about work or school or finances, separating your work or school life from your personal life and having time to just relax and decompress is really essential. I'll link a couple videos and articles down below that I think will be really helpful for understanding the relationship between stress levels and overall physical and mental health. There's quite a lot of direct and indirect effects that stress will have on your physical health, for example, that I feel like people don't talk about as much. I recently read and learned about this concept of allostatic load, and it's kind of this wear and tear placed on your body over time. And nowadays especially, there's so many factors and pressures being placed on us, and sometimes we don't avoid them, especially with technology and things like that. And it's often hard to ignore those things or make time where you're not thinking about those things that are stressing you out. So over time it creates this state of chronic stress, which is really the harmful thing for our bodies. Sometimes we do need a little bit of stress and that can be healthy, but once it gets to a state of constant, never ending, and just always being tense, that really has so many direct and indirect effects on our health. For example, some direct ones might be like headaches or stomach cramping, pretty much just coming from that tenseness in your body and just not being able to let your body's processes happen as they should be. Some other indirect effects on your health might be that you're losing sleep because you're just always stressed, staying up very late, thinking about things you need to do. You might also be stress eating, which could then result in other problems. And just overall this idea that when you're stressed, you're probably not going to be paying as much attention to your physical and mental health as a whole, and that just leads to a whole chain of effects when you're not paying attention to your diet, exercise, all those things. So all that being said, I hope you realize that stress management is really important, and now I'll get into the ways to de-stress, and I hope you find something that is helpful and attainable for you. First thing I want to talk about is breathing exercises. I think the reason it's really so relaxing is because breathing is something we normally do 24/7, I hope, and it's just so natural to us, but to actually put the attention into doing it very properly, I guess. When you do a breathing exercise, it's actually a little meditation-like. I don't know what people consider meditation, but when I'm breathing, I'm really not thinking about anything else. I'm just focusing on counting my breath and making it as deep as possible, and it just feels really nice. I think it's the fact that it's a lot slower and deep than you normally breathe. It really tricks your body into being in a calmer state somehow, and I'm going to share two of my favorite things to do, pretty much the only ones I do. It's still not super routine for me, but I try to remind myself that it's there to do. I like to do them laying down in bed sometimes, or sitting at my desk. Standing you could also probably do, but it's not as relaxing, I think. You can do it any place, anywhere. It's really nice when you're in a really silent space and all you can hear is your own inhale and exhale. So first one is this 4-7-8 exercise. Essentially what you're doing is breathing in for 4 counts, holding it for 7 counts, and then releasing really slowly for 8 counts. And I like to do this with mouth breathing. You could also do it with your nose, but I feel like breathing through your mouth for any exercise really is a lot easier to make sure it's a deep breath. Inhaling through the nose is just kind of hard sometimes because you're not getting as much in. I like to hold my stomach while I'm doing it and make sure my stomach is expanding while I'm breathing in. And then on the hold part, just keep it out. And then on the exhale, make sure your stomach is contracting again. People like to call it like belly breathing, and just making sure, you know, the air is going down to your belly, not just in your chest area. That's what oftentimes happens to a lot of people. So yeah, just focus on relaxing your shoulders, keeping them in a normal position. Inhale goes out, exhale goes back in, and yeah, that one's super fun, simple. I like to do it usually just like 3 times maybe, or sometimes even just once if I'm looking for a really quick relaxing thing. The really important thing here I think is to focus on the exhale. Make sure you're exhaling slowly for the full 8 counts. And trust me, it's going to be so relaxing. I just feel so relieved after doing that one. Really great. This next one, I don't know if there's a name for it, but it's kind of just about focusing on your whole body's air exchange. What I like to do is basically first focus on inhaling. So you're going to do really deep inhales. Again, I like to do this through my mouth. Deep inhales and kind of shallow exhales, and just kind of picture in your head filling up your body with all new air. And so I'll do it maybe 5-6 times. You can do it as many times as you feel. And once your body feels full with that new air, you're going to focus on blowing that all out. And so now you'd focus not so much on the inhale, you do kind of a shallower, smaller inhale and then a deeper exhale. And you do that same number of inhales that you did, but this time, again, focusing on your exhales and just picturing all that new air that entered your body instead going out now. And by the end of it, you should just feel kind of like your entire body has been cleansed in a way. It's kind of really in your mind, I feel like, just thinking about, yeah, everything came in and left. And you could do a couple cycles of that. I usually just do it like once. And after that, I just feel like I can breathe a lot clearer. I feel like anything bad inside was breathed out. And yeah, that one is also really great. It'll take literally like a minute and super easy to do, but it's also really important to kind of conceptualize what you're doing. It just really feels like you're exchanging your body's total air. I was really confused when I first read it because it was talking about this whole thing like you're an egg and you imagine an opening in your top and bottom, and it was just trying to be really poetic. So what I've explained to you guys is just kind of my own take on that exercise, trying to bring it to a more literal explanation. So yeah, in general, I think just thinking of it as an air exchange thing where you want everything that you breathed in to go out again and just have this kind of state of being a new, clean slate. And just good points for both of these exercises and any other breathing that you might do is to just really focus on clearing your mind, you know, holding your belly if you're not comfortable with belly breathing normally. So definitely try out those two I mentioned. Those are like the easiest ones I've learned about personally. And if you have any other breathing exercises to share, let me know in the comments, because yeah, I've pretty much been just doing those two and they've been working fine, but if there's any more simple ones I could incorporate, that'd be really great. Those breathing exercises were the main thing I want to talk about and give some examples of in this video, but here's a few other things you could do to relax and de-stress really easily. One would be to cook something for yourself. Take the time, don't just pick something up or pop something in the microwave, but make a nice little recipe, nothing too complicated that'll like give you more stress than it should, but just do something, make something kind of from scratch, throw different things together and have fun with a meal that you really enjoy. Cooking for yourself is a great way to not only give yourself a distraction, but also feed yourself something healthy and good for your body. Another thing would be to go and spend some time out in nature, either go for a walk or just sit out in a park, or even if weather is not so great, maybe just stare out a window for some time and admire nature. Take some time just appreciating the natural world around you. Spending time outdoors or just admiring nature is always such a grounding thing, and I think something all of us can do, even for a quick little moment just as you're driving or looking outside, just to notice some little things and notice the things you'd normally walk past without any thought and admire the beauty within. Another idea is to do some stretching. You could try yoga if you want to, but if you're kind of lazy like me, even just basic like PE stretches from school, touching your toes, doing some hip rotations or stretching upwards your arms, just going down to the basic stuff, things to get your body loose. I like to do these just for a quick 1 to 2 minutes in the mornings before I head to work, and it's really great for releasing tension and just making sure my joints are warmed up. And last but not least, to make sure you're getting proper rest. And to do this and make sure you get the best quality rest by avoiding screen time before you go to bed. I really need to work on that. So adopting other habits, like maybe reading a book or just sitting with your thoughts before you go to sleep to reflect on your day, something like that. And analyzing your schedule, seeing if there's things you could maybe cut out or modify in order to get your proper rest. Of course, something like 8 hours is probably optimal. If you're far from that, definitely try to switch things up and see how you can get that, because yeah, sleep is super essential to just rest and repair your body. And that brings me to the end of this video. I hope it was helpful in making you think about why managing your stress is so important and brainstorming activities you might want to do to manage your stress. Let me know if you have any other tactics to keep yourself calm and collected, and I'd love to read about them in the comments if you'd like to share. So I hope you enjoyed, have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time.